On December 27, 1892, Livingstone and Biddle College, now known as Johnson C. Smith University, played in Salisbury, North Carolina, with Biddle winning 5-0. Over time, HBCU football has evolved. HBCU football's popularity continues to rise. Millions attend games each year and millions more watch on television. The HBCU bands provide some of the top entertainment in the country. Over that time, some of the best players to ever play in the National Football League played at HBCUs. Every Monday through Friday on the HBCU Football Daily Podcast, national radio and television host Donal Ware takes a look at what's happening in HBCU football and talks with coaches, players, administrators, and media about the season. Make sure you join the conversation on social media. Now, here's your host, Donal Ware.
You've got it locked to the HBCU Football Daily Podcast for today, Wednesday, October 18th. I'm Donal Ware. It's generally the day where we start to transition to the next week, which would, of course, be week 8. But before we do that, we'll do that tomorrow because I got a guest on the line, as you can see right here for those that are watching us on the Box to Row YouTube channel, those that are listening on boxtorow.com and iHeartMedia.com. In his third season as the head football coach at Edward Waters is Toriano Morgan. The Tigers, a huge win over Tuskegee on Saturday. As a matter of fact, a walk-off win, as Coach Morgan joins us here on the program. What's going on, Coach Morgan?
How you doing? And thank you for having us. Excited to be here today.
Absolutely. Excited to have you because, I mean, you talk about a big-time football win for you guys. And you've been playing some really, really good football. 41-38, high-scoring game over Tuskegee. Your thoughts on the victory?
I thought that was probably one of the most exciting and electrifying games that I've been a part of as a player and definitely as a coach. You could have made strong cases for either one of those teams walking out of there with a win on last week, but fortunate enough for us, we were able to do it. I thought our team was really resilient, went down to a very, very hostile environment. I must take my hat off to the Tuskegee fan base who showed up, and they really showed us what home field advantage was. They were engaged in supporting their team on, which was a good college atmosphere for our team, our ball club, to be able to play in front of. We got down 14-0, and I thought our team was really resilient as far as staying true to the game plan, not panicking, not overcompensating, climb back in the ball game, and then we were able, I think, to kind of swing the pendulum in our favor in the third quarter, and it went back and forth. And then the last 2 minutes was probably two of the most historic minutes of football that I've ever seen. So ending up with us coming out with a Hail Mary catch by R.Z. McCorker on the final play of the game.
Yeah, because you're down in the football game. And then where you're up 35-31, and then Tuskegee scores with 25 seconds remaining. So, I mean, and I look here, you had 4 plays for that to make that happen. Tell me about the very last play to win the game. Describe or tell us what the play call was and describe what actually happened and then what happened in the aftermath.
Well, even before we get to that, I think the most defining play was the kick return by R.Z. McCorker that actually got us really, really good field position to where we didn't have to just take erratic shots down the field. It put us in a position with enough time left, I think like 25 seconds left, to where we could move the ball into making to the point that if we had to turn to a Hail Mary, that we were able to get it to the end zone. So as far as the final play, we work different scenarios every week in practice from, we call it situational 6, and we just give the kids different scenarios and talk them through it and let them know what the expectation is. From our standpoint, we feel like that takes away the anxiety when they get into these situations. So the key points that I was just able to, share with Jiren was, firstly, keep it in play. He has a very strong arm, as you can see. Don't throw it out the back of the end zone. receivers. We just talked about landmarks. We told them just get down between the E and the R and the end zone and make a play for the ball. And then you see Mr. McCorker tracking the ball from the time it was in the air. He locked into it, got a bead on it, and then he went up and got it at his highest point and was able to wrestle it away on the way down, and the rest is history. I think that was a really program-defining victory for us to be able to go down there and get that win. It's definitely something that these young men have deserved. We've been in our share of close games, and we've come up on the other end, so we know how that feels as well. But for them to be able to experience that type of victory in that type of atmosphere, and it's showing them that if you just play all the way through the final whistle, anything can happen on any given day. And that's just a testament to life as well. So not only was it just a good football lesson, it was a life lesson intertwined. And so we're just happy. Our fan base has been very supportive and excited about this team going into this week. So it's just a great time here to be Edward Waters football.
Yeah, have you noticed? Things must be different a little bit on campus. You already won 3 straight football games, but again, you mentioned, possibly, and I've heard a defining win in the program, maybe in the history since the program has been back. I remember, it was either 01 or 02 when the program came back. You were in independent NAIA in the last couple of years, NCAA, and ultimately the SIAC. What's been the difference from that first game, the loss to Florida Memorial, to this victory now over a very, very good Tuskegee program?
I think the biggest difference is, our guys know that we're a really good ball club, and not taking anything away from our first 2 opponents, but we equally had a hand in us beating us with some mistakes and penalties the first couple of weeks of the season. We're able to eliminate penalties that just didn't put us in the best scenarios. Guys are now making plays that they're expected to make. We have a true identity of what we are on offense, who we are on offense. We're riding, the momentum and the smart decision making that Jaron's been playing the last 5 weeks here. And then defensively, it's not always been the prettiest, but it's been what we need to allow us to come out of games with victories. So, we know who we are. We know what we do well. And I still think the best football for this ball club is still ahead of them. There's still some opportunities out there. I believe they're ascending to peak, but I don't believe that they've peaked yet. So over the next couple of weeks here, we're just going to continue to push them to play to our standard of football and let the scoreboard take care of itself.
Is the vibe different around campus now?
Absolutely. You get one, and it's like, yeah, you get one, then you get 2, and it's just been a big ball of momentum that's just kind of started rolling slowly. Then it picked up a little bit of speed. Then it picked up a little bit more speed with every win. So now, it's a culture that you want. The expectation is for us to win now. So that's very good. As far as that standard being set for this ball club. And then the biggest thing, this team is not accustomed or not accustomed to win streaks. So last year, we ended the season on like a 5-6 game win streak. So they understand what it takes to keep the momentum rolling, what it looks like with how we prepare. And they've accepted the charge, and up to this point, the last couple of weeks, they've answered the bell.
Toriano Morgan, in his 3rd season as the head football coach at Edward Waters, joins us here on the program. You mentioned Jaron Russell, HBCU National Player of the Week. I look at his numbers. He's leading the conference in terms of touchdown passes with 15. He's averaging 277 yards passing per game. Speak to him and what he's really meant to this offense.
Well, Jaron has been the catalyst to this offense taking off. For the first time since I've been here, going in from one season to the next season, we were set and steadied on a signal caller, which was him. So I think him going in and understanding that right now it's his job to lose, he has to compete. I think that kind of compelled him to catapult into a leadership role as far as doing everything the right way and getting these guys to buy in to him as our quarterback and the leader of offense. Now, when the system's taking off, Coach Jenkins has done an amazing job coordinating his offense and tailoring everything to Jiron's unique skill set. He does have a very unique skill set in some of the things that he can do. He can beat you with his arms. He can beat you with his legs. He can beat you with his mind. And he's proven in this last couple of weeks that he's needed all three of those elements in different points and times to get the job done. I told him after the game, and I don't mind sharing with you because he agrees as well. I told him Saturday was probably the ugliest 300-yard performance that I've seen. And he knows at the end of the day, there's opportunities for us to have played better as an offensive unit, as an offensive team. So, yes, we got the win, but we know that there's still work to do. But his composure at the final two plays of the game, his ball placement, and believing that this receiving core, who has been playing lights out the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks for that matter, trusting them to go down with the protection that he got up front and coming down making the play.
What's the response been like? You've been building this program. I mentioned third season. You had you played, but you had the COVID year. You guys are trying to make the transition now finally to the SIAC. What has it been like building this program and getting it now into the SIAC? Where I mean, you've got Benedict, then there's 4 teams that have 1 loss, and then you're right there with 2 losses.
Yeah, it's been a great experience. Our recruiting base of where we're located and where we put our focus allows us year in and year out to be talented and even more competitive every year from a recruiting standpoint, because we're right here in that South Georgia, this First Coast area, which is fertile with football talent. Then we're able to reach down all the way through the state of Florida, down to South Florida, and then as far west as Alabama. So we get a great opportunity to recruit. So that was the first order of business, is being able to bring elite, talented student athletes into the program. So from that being the cornerstone of how we're building it, the next component now is being competitive. I think the difference between year one and now, as I stated earlier, these guys expect to win, and I don't, liken this win or say it's a program-changing win because we don't believe we can win. I'd say it's a program-changing win because you can say that you're talented, you can say anything that you like, but the proof has got to actually be in the pudding. So for us to go out and play a very good ball club like Tuskegee, who's storied in history, who's very talented, and it's going to be right there in the end as well. I just think that was an opportunity for this team to say, this is just not a phase, or we're just not having a good week or two here. This team has been playing some really good football the last couple of weeks, and now it's just up to us to continue to play our brand of football, and Albany State is next on the schedule. So that's where we shift our focus.
Toriano Morgan, in his third season as the head football coach at Edward Waters, joins us here in the program, right where I was getting ready to go next. I mean, you come out of the win with the win against Albany State. Now you got to go right into, the win over Tuskegee, right into Albany State, who's, I'm sure, not happy, right? Their first loss in SIAC play. They're still in this mix to participate in the SIAC championship game. Your thoughts on some of the challenges that the Golden Rams present?
They're a very physical football team. They're going to be well coached. There's a lot of interesting narratives going into this week that are gonna play out off the field. Some good storylines here and there. But as far as their team, they're very physical. And again, the games that they haven't come out with the win, they've been right there. So they don't go away. They play hard. They play a brand of football that is second to none. And we know coming off from the loss to Allen that they're going to be eager and hungry to come in here and play spoiler for us. So it's not a secret if we know it. So we just know now that when they come in, we have to be prepared to take their best shots coming right out of the gate and give them our best shots coming right out of the gate, and then continue to play our hard football and come out victorious.
You've been around HBCU football pretty much all of your life. Played at Tennessee State, was at Virginia State. Of course, now you're at Edward Waters, and obviously some other stops along the way. For you, how are you growing now in your third season? How are you growing now as a head football coach?
As understanding that the good thing is having firstly, I must say this, having a great staff around you, and not just saying having a great staff, but having a great staff that you can depend on and rely on. And the good thing about them is they're guys that they want to win as equally. They're great fathers and coaches, and the thumbprint that they put onto these young men as far as not negotiating what we set our vision for our program to be is good. So the growth and being able to delegate that a little bit more, and being able to set a vision and a standard off the field. Firstly, I'm a true firm believer that if they are not reaching the goal set off the field, it's a byproduct that is not going to happen on the field. So holding those guys accountable and just being able to continue every day for me to grow, to be better, educate myself, and find out what makes this team tick and move them in the right direction.
Toriano Morgan, again, in his third season as the head football coach at Edward Waters, joining us here on the program. The Tigers going to be at home taking on Albany State on Saturday. Coach Morgan, appreciate the time. Continued success to you and the Tigers.
Thank you. I appreciate you having us, and go Tigers.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the HBCU Football Daily Podcast. You can also listen to the podcast at boxtorow.com, iHeartMedia, or wherever you get your podcasts. Don't forget to get your HBCU football fix on Box to Row with Donal Ware each weekend on the radio station near you, and on SiriusXM on HBCU, Channel 142, and on ESPNU Radio on SiriusXM, Channel 84. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Box to Row for the latest in HBCU football, and don't forget to tell a friend.